Yeah, keep that going. Give us freedom, justice, equality. Living up in the face of this hypocrisy. Too many in this world lost in poverty. Picking it up for the people whose rock is heavy. Peace and blessings to the people in need. Food and water, still the struggle for many. We all live in this world of plenty. Privilege in this life, giving thanks on the daily. Free these minds so our eyes are blind. Combine and find that we all can shine. Heart broken open, where is the time? Shaking apart the system so we all can climb. So let's go, let's roll. Everybody rock the boat. We grow, push and pull, move it in and out of soul. Take control, break the mold, raise it for a high goal. Young and old, be the bold, hold it for the future foe. Great rhythm, everybody. Let's just hear our voices a little bit on this. Say rise up. Say rise up. Say rise up. Say rise up. Say rise up, rise up. Rise up, rise up. Rise up, rise up. All my people rise up, wise up, wise up. All my people rise up, rise up, rise up. All my people rise up. Up, time's up, time's up. Rise up, rise up. All my people rise up. Wise up, wise up. All my people wise up. Rise up, rise up. All my people rise up. Time's up, time's up, time's up.
We're thrilled to have Rup here with us, and I wanted to start out by asking you, what did your spiritual or faith life look like growing up?
Well, I grew up, I was the first of my family born in Canada, back in '76 in traditional blood territories, which is southern Alberta. And let's see, I grew up in the Sikh faith. I still will visit a temple from time to time. But yeah, I grew up running around in temples, and it was an interesting thing when growing in that, because the language of the Guru Granth Sahib, which is our holy text, is in something called Gurmukhi, which is quite different than Punjabi. And so as a kid, I didn't really understand a lot of what was being said inside of the gurdwaras. And, I'd just be running around playing with my friends mostly. Then I remember starting to ask more questions and starting to have a little bit more curiosity. And that's when the faith of Sikhism really hit me, and I started to understand particularly a lot of the work of Guru Nanak, which was the first guru of the 10 gurus in Sikhism. And his understanding in how he walked through the world was very beautiful. So just even understanding the very beginning of our text was a lot for me, which is Ek Onkar Satnam, which is really hard to translate, but essentially how I would translate it is that all is one and truth resounds through everything.
Okay, well, there's that.
there's that, a little bit.
So can I ask then, your work has a deep focus on community, on creating access for all people in arts and music. Do you trace a line from those early religious experiences, from the teachings?
Yeah, I would say, because there's a philosophy that resounds in Sikhism as well called seva, which is to be of service to our world. And some of the first kind of Sikh temples that started to happen with Guru Nanak were about setting a langar hall so that Hindus and Muslims and people of all faith would come together in a community and be able to share conversation with each other and sit. And the idea was that we'd all sit on the floor, and that was an idea to get rid of caste and to abolish that sort of idea in the world. And so this idea of being of service to the world was really instilled to me at a young age. I got to share a quick aside that's just in my brain. When growing up, when I was about 17 at the Gurdwara in Abbotsford there, a Baba who lived there, an old man who resided at the temple, used to just come up to me. He just started doing this really interesting thing where he'd just point at inanimate objects, look at me and be like, God. And he'd walk away. And I'd be like, huh? And then the next day, like he'd point at like a styrofoam cup that was in the garbage and be like, God. And I was just, as a 17-year-old might be, very confused by such things. But over the next couple of years, and like a lot of my spirituality also developed in nature, and falling in love with this beautiful territory that we get to be guests on, and this understanding of how everything was interconnected and how everything was a part of the body of God was one of the things that just kind of swam into my brain there. So I just thought I'd share that.
Great. Well, and that leads me to want to ask, music is a big part of your life, and I wonder, what does spiritual practice look like for you? Is music part of that?
Yeah, it's a huge part of that. My wonderful partner is here, and she puts up with me like playing music first thing in the morning when I wake up, because that's my way of connecting, both inside myself and to the outer world. Really, when I break down music and my understanding of spirit growing with my understanding of music, because I wasn't involved in, I've always loved music, but I didn't start playing anything till I was about 20, and didn't really start taking it seriously till I was about 24. So as my understanding with spirit and everything grew, I started to look at, science theories of the Big Bang, and then you look at Hindu philosophy of Om, and how those can really match up in this idea that there was this sonic bang that happened, which is this symphony of notes that went on to create the vibrations that hold together our galaxies, our planets, our suns, our stars, our own heartbeats, down to our molecular vibration. So I see music entwined in absolutely everything. I think we are walking, like the way that I picture the universe is that it's this one long song, and that we get to take part in a small piece of it.
Amen. So here's my last question for you, which might be a tough one, but I think you can handle it. This has been, as I said at the beginning, a tough week for all of us, a tough week for those of us that believe in love and inclusion and justice. What drives you, and what gets you through when it feels like the world is headed in the opposite direction?
Right. At the beginning of this, I'll remind us all to be gentle with ourselves in these situations, because despair is something that's very alive and there in the world. And if we slip to it, I say worry not, for if our hearts are in a good place and want to do good in this world, we will slip back. So my friends, my family, those I love, they carry me, they hold me, my community. Being able to gather with people, with other folk, and singing, having you all sing this morning, that did a lot for my heart, so I thank you again for that. Faith in the human condition to move us towards justice, as slow and painstaking as it is, that I do have an underlying faith in that. And then what personally gets me through is, these conversations that we'll have with friends. I know leading up to the election, we had met for a coffee, and that did really wonders for me. And me and Laura have been sharing lots of conversations about how the feeling is, what our people are going through south of the border. So a lot of those things, I think it's a strong diversity for all of us in what pulls us through these kinds of moments in time. And my great hope is that, like with Stephen Harper being here for so long, and then we see the Idle No More movement come up, and we see Indigenous rights coming to the forefront. So the hope I hold on to is that us as a people, with something to brush up against, that we're able to define who we are more and come together more around those things that unite us.
Thank you. Can I just ask you to repeat the line we started with, the first line of the book. Yes.
Ekongkar Satnam.
Which translates as.
We are all one, and truth is this omnipresent thing that we find in everything.
Thank you. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. On that note, I just want to put something else out there, and I didn't work out the languaging to this, so I apologize if it's messy, but we're in a messy situation. So, with the division that we see happening between left and right, we want to call it Republican, Democrat, we want to call it, NDP, conservative, however you want to call it, I really implore us all, especially looking at this room, in keeping those connections with folks that may have different worldviews than you. And the power that we carry, and I feel like a lot of the responsibility that we carry in our social justice work, which is where I met Chris and am amazed by this human being, by the way. Absolutely incredible ally to so many human beings. And yeah, please. Thank you. There's just no doubt about it. And it's done in this beautiful, humble way. And within that, for me as a man, I can talk to other men about misogyny and patriarchy. And that's a power where I hold. What I can't do is reach across to folks that are thinking white supremacy is a thing that should happen in this world. This is a power that lies in a lot of your hands, because I can't even begin that conversation with those folks. So I just implore from a really heart space that we can take those kinds of social responsibilities and walk forward and bring and unite our people that much more.
Okay. Oh yeah. So now Rup is going to share a poem with us that is significant to him, and then we will sing with the choir.
Indeed. So first, this is a dear brother of mine's work back there, Derek Fraser. And when I was coming to speak here, and Christina originally had asked me to think of 15 minutes of conversation without her, I was like, can we just talk? Because that's just kind of how I roll. So this is Khalil Gibran on love. When love beckons to you, follow him. Though her ways are hard and steep, and when his wings enfold you, yield to her. Though the sword hidden among his pinions may wound you, and when he speaks to you, believe in him. Though his voice may shatter your dreams, as the north wind lays waste the garden. For even as love crowns you, so shall she crucify you. Even as he for your growth, so is she for your pruning. Even as he ascends to your height and caresses your tenderest branches that quiver in the sun, so shall he descend to your roots and shake them in their clinging to the earth. Like sheaves of corn, he gathers you unto himself. He threshes you to make you naked. He sifts you to free you from your husks. He grinds you to whiteness. She kneads you until you are pliant. And then he assigns to you his sacred fire, that you may become sacred bed for God's sacred feast. All these things shall love do unto you, that you may know the secrets of your heart, and in that knowledge become fragments of life's heart. But if in your fear you would seek only love's peace and love's pleasure, then it is better for you that you cover your nakedness and pass out of love's threshing floor into the seasonless world where you shall laugh, but not all your laughter, and weep, but not all your tears. Love gives not but itself, and takes not but from itself. Love possesses not, nor would it be possessed, for love is sufficient unto love. When you love, you should not say, God is in my heart, but rather I am in the heart of God. And think not you can direct the course of love, for love, if it finds you worthy, directs your course. Love has no other desire but to fulfill itself. But if you love and must needs have desires, let these be your desires, to melt and be like a running brook that sings its melody to the night, to know the pain of too much tenderness, to be wounded by your own understanding of love, and to bleed willingly and joyfully, to wake at dawn with a winged heart and give thanks for another day of loving, to rest at the noon hour and meditate on love's ecstasy, to return home to eventide with gratitude, and then to sleep with a prayer for the beloved in your heart and a song of praise upon your lips.
All right. Join hands and rejoice, because this is the chance and this is our voice when we come together in one union. And this is how we do it under one sun and one earth, where we all been birthed. And this is the love that knows no bounds and finds a history that we can all resound. And we can feel each other's edges and we push till the worth comes through and the blessing of the love comes through these voices. Here's our choices, now we coming through, and this is for you and all the things that you do in this world. Hold love high, walk in the good way, because these are the words of how we pray.